Insiders, it's Mina Marzano here tuning in for another video. Today we're going to talk about AHIP versus NABIP, so stay tuned for more. So a lot of agents have been wondering what the difference is or what the benefits are of taking AHIP or NABIP over one over the other. If you're new to the industry, you have to certify on a yearly basis with one of these exams to be able to write Medicare Advantage products. There are a couple of carriers that might provide alternatives to those, but for the most part, most carriers are going to require one of these tests to be completed. So that's probably one of the big factors in determining what tests to take. AHIP does cover every carrier, meaning every carrier accepts AHIP. NABIP, not every carrier accepts quite yet. There is a lot of carriers that do, a lot of those national names, Humana, United, Cigna, Devoted, they are accepting the NABIP certification. There are a couple of other carriers like Aetna and WellCare that do not yet accept it. And I will provide a link in the description of the video where you can see all of the carriers that accept it and see if it's something that works for you depending on your market and what carriers you are offering and needing to stay certified with. You don't by any means need to do both tests. I would definitely advise against doing both. That's going to be kind of a waste of money and a waste of time. So pick one and do one. There are benefits to taking both. Like I said, one of the benefits of AHIP is that every carrier accepts it. NABIP, you do not have to be a member to take that certification. You can just take it. It is $100 versus AHIP, which is $125. And just kind of an aside here, AHIP technically does cost $175 if you just go on ahipmedicaretraining.com. So make sure that you are doing your AHIP training through a carrier link, a carrier certification, so that you get a $50 discount. You should not be paying more than $125 for AHIP. If you're paying $175, you're doing it wrong. Get you a code so you can get the $50 off. So technically there's only a $25 difference in price between the NABIP and the AHIP course. In terms of difficulty, AHIP is written by regulators, whereas NABIP is written by brokers. So AHIP does tend to be kind of the more difficult exam where, some of the verbiage might be a little bit more difficult to understand. It might be a little bit more in depth in certain areas. That is kind of the general consensus of the difficulty of both exams. I will say, however, that AHIP does provide practice quizzes after each module, which are really a lot of the content that is in those practice quizzes is going to be what's going to show up on that final exam. So it is absolutely 100% doable. It's not something that is extremely challenging. I do recommend that you read through the material as you go through that test, whichever exam. The information is important, is very relevant for you to know, especially if you're newer to the industry and need to really get acquainted with some of those different marketing guidelines and the different parts of Medicare and things like that. Definitely want to make sure that you are taking your time through those exams and reading the content well and thoroughly. And the last couple of advantages of taking the NABIP is that in certain states, they do include some CE credits within that $100 price that you pay to take the exam. They do include some CE credits. I'll also provide a link in the description of the video that you can use to see if those CE credits are provided in your state, if that's something that's useful to you and it makes sense for you for the carriers that you're representing. Maybe it's a good option. Another thing with NABIP is that it allows you to use a logo on your marketing material that says Medicare certified. So if you do a lot of marketing, that might be something that's appealing to you, to be able to provide a logo on your marketing, whether it's social media or printed advertisements where it shows you are Medicare certified. That is something that AHIP does not include within their certification. And those are really some of the main differences between those two, some of the benefits of taking one over the other. So consider those, see if it works for you. I would say probably one of the main things is what carriers are you representing, right? If you write a lot of Aetna, you might want to just go ahead and do AHIP, because otherwise you're looking at potentially having to do both and, spend twice the money. So take some of those things into consideration, see what works for you. What are your goals moving into 2024, and make the decision accordingly for those exams. Again, reference the description of the video for those 2 links that I mentioned on what carriers accept NABIP, as well as what states do include the CE credits within them. Other than that, guys, let me know if you have any feedback, if any of you have already taken either of these exams and have any opinions or thoughts about which one is better than the other, or why you chose to take one exam over the other. Super curious to find out what you guys are thinking out there. Otherwise, like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure to join our Facebook group, Medicare Insiders, where we are tuning in with all kinds of updates at all times. And I will see you guys next video. Thanks.